Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Trombley. I'm the Artistic Director of the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra, and I am joined by my lovely host this evening, Emma Tattenbaum-Fine, and we are hosting our very first ever Virtual Gala. Thank you for joining us, Emma.
I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everybody. You may know me by my husband, Luke Krafka. He will be playing the cello later this evening. And I'm his wife, and I'm here to help fundraise and to help you enjoy an incredible concert.
Thank you. So one of the things that we are fundraising for, we are fundraising for to help us raise our technological capabilities. With this pandemic, unfortunately, SCCO has been away for a very, very long time. We are fortunate to have some very small events, but as we are and most other arts organizations, we are realizing that the digital part of music is here to stay. And if you've gone onto any of our earlier live streams, which are still available on our Facebook channel, you'll notice that the performances, while lovely, were lacking a certain depth that you can only really hear in live music. And that's the goal. What we're trying to raise for is to help us bring a better quality, a better product to everyone at home, but to all of our friends abroad as well.
In the hopes that after the pandemic, you can do both live and live stream, right? Because you've learned so much this year. If you've been watching SCCO, and I'm a huge fan, so I have been, it's been really wonderful to have virtual concerts.
Absolutely. It's necessary to have music in our lives. So let's get right into the music. You're going to be hearing a number of tunes tonight, some pre-recorded, some of our earlier projects from the pandemic, and some new projects that we're going to share with you. And we're going to dive right into one of our new projects, which is a performance of Over the Waves by Juaventino Rosas. This waltz is a fabulous piece of music that everyone will surely know, but you probably don't know who the composer was. Rosas wrote this piece in 1888, and over the course of the 20th century, it was used in numerous films, movies. It's been used in carnivals, merry-go-rounds, you name it, you probably heard it. So let's just dive right into it. Here it is.
It's not by Strauss.
Not by Strauss. Not the other Waltz King. This is our Waltz King from the southern border. So please enjoy Juaventino Rosas, Over the Waves.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Diana Southwick Scheida. I'm the canon missioner of the Delaware Catskill Episcopal Ministry, a collaboration of 4 Episcopal churches up here in the Catskill region. I'm happy to be here at St. John's Episcopal Church today to talk to you about the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra. I can't tell you how proud I am of the work that St. John's and Nesson and the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra are doing together here in Monticello and in Sullivan County. We are so grateful to have children and musicians in our church all the time. It is such a joy and a pleasure. And it is so important to this county and to our souls and to our community that we continue to support the Chamber Orchestra. It is so important to nurture not just our minds in school and our work habits, but the beauty that God has given us. And we are so blessed to have the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra and Nesson Cultural Arts in our community to help us enjoy those beautiful things, the beautiful music that God has given us. You're going to have lots of opportunities tonight to support the Chamber Orchestra, and I urge you to do that. It is so important that these musicians are supported by our community. They are homegrown, many of them, and they have come back to help us be a better community. And it is our responsibility and joy to support them. So give generously and enjoy the music this evening.
Person and Reverend Mother Diana, thank you for those words. And for those of you who are wondering where you can give, it's easy as pie. Just go to nessonculturalarts.org and click on the donate page. You can donate through PayPal, Venmo, or of course, if you prefer, you can still do a snail mail check. We accept those too.
And you'll support the soul of the community.
Absolutely.
How does that feel to have someone say that about something you built?
Well, it means so much to me because that's really the goal of any orchestra. When we started this orchestra, it was really influenced by what would happen if you walked around throughout Europe. For instance, if you were in Italy, you would see orchestras in just about every single town of all sizes, local bands, professional orchestras, you name it, they have it. And that becomes, it's like sports teams. It gives it gives pride to a community.
And Monticello has that pride.
Absolutely.
I feel it.
We're proud of the work that we've done here and the work that we will continue to do. So, what do you think of that music?
Well, I can't believe it's not Strauss, as
Right.
they say. I truly, I felt like I was on a merry-go-round. I felt like a little bit motion sick, but in a good way,
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
I mean, if you were made sick from listening to music, that's
It's the
probably
best
a
way.
problem.
Strong association with carnivals.
Well, I'm so happy that you got to enjoy it. It's such a special piece of music. But we're going to move on to something else that's even more special, and that is the music of Florence Price. During this pandemic, we were forced to find alternative ways of coming to you with music, and one thing that came to our minds was something that many orchestras are doing in choruses, and it's called mass synchronization projects.
You've seen this on Facebook or on YouTube, when you see all the musicians in their little squares making music. That has the fancy name mass synchronization.
Absolutely, and that's a very, very tricky process. It creates beautiful music, but it's still manufactured music. But that involves a lot of tireless hours, and that starts with our co-founder and concertmaster Akiko Hasoi, also my wife. She will perform the first violin part, and then we will go on to software. We will make a click track, which is basically a metronome going on in your ear. That's very common for movie recordings to make sure everyone stays on the same page. And then this click track is sent to all the musicians involved. They will then record their part individually. This often requires them having sometimes 2 or 3 devices at home. They will send that back to me, and then I will, through video editing software, I will layer it all together to create a remarkable piece of music. What I think is a remarkable piece of music, and I surely hope you would all
It
enjoy.
takes a lot of coffee to get that done.
Oh, a lot of coffee and a lot of late nights. But it got done, and I hope you will enjoy the product. It's quite remarkable. Price. She is the greatest composer that I have never heard of until very, very recently.
Yeah, so how did this piece come to be? Tell us about her.
So Florence Price is a remarkable woman. She was born in Arkansas, and she graduated as a valedictorian from her high school by the age of 14. I don't know if you're doing at 14, but I was not really studying as much as I should have.
No.
And then afterwards, she moved on to New England Conservatory as one of the first African American females to be scholarshiped into the piano and organ department.
Having been rejected from a bunch of other
Having been rejected from other places, absolutely. And then when she was there, she learned to study counterpoint and composition as well. And it was while she was in New England Conservatory, she composed her first symphony and her first quartet. Her first symphony would go on to be performed by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and that was the first time that orchestra performed a work by a female African-American composer.
Wow.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, and then when she afterwards, I should back up a little bit, after New England Conservatory, she went back to Arkansas with the intention of educating children. That was her other passion. And there she was rejected from numerous schools for being an African-American. And so she decided, I'm going to start my own school. And it became immensely successful. And then she went on to have a very popular career. She was appreciated as a composer, as an organist, and this piece, Adoration, was originally composed for organ shortly before the end of her life in the 1950s.
But the craziest part of her story is that we would have lost all of this if someone hadn't found a bunch of her writing in a dilapidated house in 2009.
That is absolutely true.
I read that today. That's all I know. I didn't come in knowing that, but it is extraordinary. So how did that happen?
Well, it's an important piece of information. I can't say I know who made that discovery, who would walk into a dilapidated house.
It'd be like, there must be music here.
It would probably not be me. When I see
Right.
houses like that, I tend to stay away. But imagine what could have been if we discovered this treasure sooner. The impact that Florence Price could have had on education, and certainly piano studies, organ studies, could have been felt over a much more impactful meeting if we discovered her music sooner.
Yeah. Wow.
But, and we hope to certainly bring this back to you live soon. I mean, this is a remarkable piece of music. And what better way to do this rather than these mass synchronization manufactured products, then through live music, and also distributing that music through digital means as well.
Because when you make one of these mass synchronizations, you kind of sacrifice the joy and humanity of music making for perfection.
Absolutely.
Which is nice too. Perfection has a place. We like that.
Perfection does have a place. And it's important with a woman like Florence Price to get her music out there and to get it listened to. This piece was not arranged for strings very often. Kiko took it upon herself to discover the music and arrange the part for this string ensemble. And she has been solicited by people worldwide asking for her arrangements.
Oh, that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, keep going.
We're very proud of that.
Yeah.
So, as far as where our tech goals are going, what we need for all this, we need high quality cameras, we need high quality microphones, we need high quality capture cards, which can basically distribute all this digital data into a way that when it's delivered to you on the other end of the internet, you will hopefully get the truest product you can possibly get.
SCCO wants you to see it as if you're live, so that you can be on your couch, just hanging out and still hear it with top quality, high fidelity.
Absolutely. And the goals for next season, when we come back to live concerts, that our hope is that every single one of our events will be live streamed as well. We have a number of supporters around, and we want to make sure everyone has a chance to hear the work of the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra. So the next thing we'd like to move into is one of our greatest projects we have ever taken to date. And Emma, I don't know if you noticed these beautiful paintings behind us.
I did notice them. They're really spectacular. How did they come to be here?
Well, it came back to really focusing on the words that Mother Diana said earlier, which is community. This was a community project where Nancy Wegrzyn, SCCO violist and longtime educator in the Monticello Central School District, she was commissioned by us to write the Four Seasons of Sullivan County, which is a 45-minute tone poem that captures the beauty and the essence of Sullivan County in the same way that Piazzolla wrote his Four Seasons of Buenos Aires, and in the same way that Vivaldi wrote the Four Seasons of the violin concerto.
I didn't know there were so many Four Seasons floating around.
Absolutely.
This is all new to me. I thought it was just Vivaldi, but there's like a Four Seasons of all these different places.
There really is. Tchaikovsky has a Four Seasons as well, but it's for piano only. Maybe that's another arrangement in the future.
Yeah, something for when you get back live. So tell me, what is a tone poem? Because I've been hearing that.
A tone poem is a piece of music. It's usually a long piece of music, and it's meant to depict a story where A symphony is meant to be, it's a musical style that could tell a story if you imagine it. Tone poems are meant to tell a very, very specific story. And that's what the Four Seasons of Sullivan County did. It starts in June and it works its way throughout the entire year. There's 12 months in a year, so there's 12 movements in the piece. And with a region like this, in terms of the environment and in terms of weather, it's very unique. We have many, many seasons within such a shortened time. So you'll hear that throughout the entire music. And we very fortunately were able to produce this onto our very first CD, The Four Seasons of Sullivan County, which is available for purchase.
It's available for purchase.
And all of these paintings that you see behind you, this was a collaboration from a Monticello native, Lori Kilgore. She's also a resident art teacher as well. And she collaborated with Nancy Wegrzyn to listen to the music, to chat with the music, and mostly to get a sense of each other's feeling for working and living in this community. And then she would drive around.
She got up super early to find the perfect sunrise.
Absolutely. Sunrise to sunset. She would drive around with her truck with her dog Bailey, and she would try to find that perfect place. And then, like Nancy, who needed to experiment with colors to create this tone poem, Lori would experiment with the numerous colors on her palettes to try and depict the scenery that we all grow up with and we all live in and we all appreciate.
And perhaps most importantly, these prints of these paintings will be available for purchase.
Absolutely. They're available in all sizes. The size that you see in front of you to also as little as 4-inch by 6-inch postcards. We will have all sizes available. And if you are interested in purchasing these prints or purchasing the CD, again, I ask you to go to Nesson Cultural Arts, join the mailing list on the website, let them know that you want to follow Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra, and you can also follow us at our Facebook page on social media at SCCO Players. So I think it's enough talking, and I'd love for you all to hear, either for the first time or again, the music of Nancy Wegrzyn, a composer we are so proud to work with.
And this will be April that we're hearing.
This is April that we are hearing.
Topical.
April, you tease. Heat to snow, blizzards to fuzzy buds. The promise of renewal sings, and winter's sad remains lie, scraps on the road, until gathered or obscured by the growing grass.
Hi, this is Marvin Rappaport. As a lifelong resident of Sullivan County, I'm pleased to support the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra. It's bringing world-class entertainment, music, and culture to our community, and giving back in a way that we've not seen in a long time. As one who grew up at a time when the Catskills were full of music, as they say, the hills were alive with the sound of music, I'm delighted to hear that sound again.
Thank you for the beautiful words from Marvin Rappaport, who's been a longtime supporter of ours and an integral part of our community. And I also have to give some big shout outs to those who have already left comments on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining in and streaming. Tal Beery, Aaron Dudley, I'm so happy you enjoyed the Florence Price. I really hope we can bring the piece to you live soon.
And Holly Krafka, we knew you'd be watching, but it's still really awesome. So thanks for always being there. You're the best.
So I hope you enjoyed the Four Seasons of Sullivan County. Again, I need to keep putting this out there, but the Four Seasons of Sullivan County album is available for sale. And please join our mailing list to put in your requests and put in your orders. We will get it out to you as quickly as we can. Now, I think it's important that we, as we have this evening, it's crucial that we unveil what our plans are for the future.
Unveil them.
And we are going to unveil next season. Of course, everything is always flexible. Unfortunately, things happen, especially in the course of the pandemic. Sometimes dates need to be dropped and changed, but we can tell you what the artistic vision and what the goal is. We plan on bringing to you one event every month, at least. 3 of these events will be our first ever family concerts, which we are really excited to work with. This is going to be a series of workshops and events, starting with the Sounds of Jewish Culture in August, where we will have a family concert then as well, a family workshop.
With klezmer music.
With klezmer music. We have a fantastic klezmer band joining us for a Saturday night performance from that is led by Sasha Margolis. He is one of our SCCO violinists as well. And those dates are going to be August 28th. And then on Sunday, August 29th, we will be performing a chamber music concert entirely made up of composers, Jewish composers, whose careers were either upended or affected or ended by the rise of the Third Reich and the Holocaust. It was a powerful time for music for those composers, especially when they found any means possible to keep music alive and well in the concentration camps. There's oftentimes stories of these composers writing their music sometimes on pieces of toilet paper instead of manuscript paper, or possibly on chunks of wood. And somehow through great effort and willpower, this music was rescued and able to be shared with you all today.
It seems like SCCO champions these composers that might not have been found, we're so close to not being discovered. Where do you find all this content?
Oh man, well I tell you, Google's a great resource of information.
Google?
Okay. We're a young organization, and thankfully there are other arts organizations that share the same vision that we do. So this is a global community. This is a global effort by musicians everywhere to, while always reinforce the masterworks that came before these lost composers, but to also show who their colleagues were. While they may have been lost to us, these composers were not often lost to their colleagues. Certainly in the time of Vivaldi, he knew many composers who we don't
Because
know
it's just
today.
like now, you all function within a community. No composer is working alone.
Absolutely.
So you get to know the gatekeepers that are around, or the salon members who are hearing your work and thinking, oh, you got to hear this person, they're really good.
Absolutely.
And it's always been that way.
Absolutely. So there's always a theme, there's always a connection from composer to composer. Moving on into September, we are going to be having our first string quartet concert. And in October, we will be resuming with our last planned live concert. It will be a performance of Ellen Taffes-Willich's piano quintet as well as Schubert's Trout Quintet. Ellen Taffes-Willich is a remarkable composer who is still alive today, and her piano quintet is an immensely powerful work. But we're going to add a small twist to the Schubert Trout Quintet, and you'll want to make sure you sign up for our mailing list so you're aware and you can learn what that twist might be.
I think I know what it is, but I won't give it away.
Please don't.
I won't.
It's a good surprise. In November, we will be resuming again with our family concerts. In December, we will be having our holiday pops. And in March, we will be celebrating Women's History Month with a string quintet concert, which I'm very excited for this one because we will be performing the music of Ethel Smith, Do you know what this myth
I
is?
do, because Luke played on a Grammy-winning album.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She is a remarkably powerful woman who was a leader in the women's suffrage movement in the UK.
Oh.
And her music is incredibly beautiful and complex and perfect is a good way to describe it. Another piece in that program, which I'm immensely excited about, is a Teresa Carreño string quartet. Teresa Carreño was a Renaissance woman from Venezuela.
This is the one who was the singer and the pianist and the composer and knew Franz Liszt.
Conductor, yeah.
Conductor.
Yeah, you can't forget about the conductor.
And she died in 1915.
Yes, she died very early on.
A lot of music trivia today. But that's crazy because her life sounds recent. She sounds like she would have been a woman in the 80s.
One would have thought, but she was a pioneer. I mean,
wow.
a woman of that caliber to get the attention and the praises of Franz Liszt, Charles Gounod, and numerous other composers when she spent time in France, in New York City. It's a remarkable achievement. And again, her music was almost lost. Certainly around Europe when World War I broke out, that was a demoralizing time for music. Composers were lost, manuscripts were lost, instruments were nearly lost. You can certainly hear even in World War II about these beautiful Italian basses sitting in a corner of someone's home that would get bombed out, and then the back and the ribs would be destroyed. So you lost so much valuable artwork. But through intense efforts by musicians, historians, we were able to recreate to the best of our ability the music of Teresa Carreño. So again, please sign in for our mailing list. You will get next season unveiled with dates and all, and I hope you come and enjoy us, if not in person, certainly live online. So the next thing that we're going to move on to is...
Well, wait, don't we need to talk about, all these things are coming up, but we do need their support, right? It's like very important.
That is true. You may have noticed, or maybe not, but we will mention soon that our next season is going to be made up entirely of chamber music. And you might be wondering why an orchestra would be doing chamber music. And there are two logistical reasons. A, it's for the sake of social distancing. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to go on, so we need to be as safe as possible bringing live music to you. And B, it's more affordable for us to keep smaller ensembles so we can return the following season in 2022 with a massive full orchestra season.
So all these visions will be possible with your support tonight. Tonight's very important. It's a big deal.
Absolutely.
You're all here.
Absolutely. Without you, we wouldn't be able to make a lot of this work happen. And it goes to not just tech, but also to music rentals. I mean, sometimes this music, it gets expensive after a while, especially when the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra, in its mission to bring new music to you as well. I recently tallied up all the repertoire we played over the first 5 seasons, and it dawned on me that 43% of our repertoire is music from the 20th century or later, which is a very difficult feat if you know much about public domain.
Because you have to pay the people.
Exactly.
It's not public domain. They have estates and stuff.
Exactly.
Estates and stuff.
But this music is largely important. One of the concerts you will hear at the end of next season, which we will finish with an orchestra concert, is certainly going to be Beethoven's Opus 135 for a string orchestra. It's a string quartet originally, which we will perform as a string orchestra piece, but that will be coupled with Shostakovich's 8th string quartet, which was arranged for a full orchestra. And the power of pairing the old with the new is so crucial, especially for chamber music. And that's a big reason. The biggest reason why we're focusing on chamber music next year is because it's incredibly powerful. One of my favorite chamber music composers is the music of Johannes Brahms. Brahms essentially started his composition career and ended his composition career with chamber music. He only wrote 4 symphonies, a handful of concertos, but a ton of chamber music, a ton of quartets.
Do you think he loved chamber music as much as you do?
He must have.
Yeah.
I think he absolutely must have.
And he wrote these big sappy letters about how much he loved it.
Oh, he did. You know, part of Brahms, he was a remarkable pianist. That was his big thing. And as a pianist, you are a singular person creating multiple voices within a singular instrument. And you can achieve that same feeling on the quartet with a really, really good quartet. I'm excited to say that the next video that we have coming up is one of the best quartets I've ever heard in my life, made up of our SCCO musicians. This was at a concert in Jeffersonville in 2019, celebrating the music of German composers. And what they're going to perform to you is the second movement of Brahms' First String Quartet. And Brahms, being the ever humble man that he was, when he wrote these first two string quartets, he was asked by a friend to write these, and he responded, well, I will certainly do the best of my ability to put out a decent product for you all.
Humble brag.
A very humble brag, because as you listen to this, this is music that has counterpoint and harmony at its finest. For me, one of the things that I love about music is something called suspensions, and that's where you have two opposing notes working in tandem. So for me, when I listen to it, it's like someone turned me into a rubber band. They're stretching me out as far as they can go, so I feel the tension until I release. So you have this tension and release, and that is a huge part of what we are as people, within our muscles, within our body, but also within our souls, our spirituality. We have tension in our lives, and we feel so much better when that tension is released. And Brahms embodied that so perfectly in music. You know, a lot of musicians will tell you that their favorite composers are often the three Bs: Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. And after you listen to this piece, you'll certainly understand why. Please enjoy.
Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra supports Albella restaurants by coming here often, and Albella restaurants support the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra by advertising. Help each other, help community.
Thank you for those words by Mike from one of our favorite restaurants in town, Albella's Italian Restaurant Pizzeria. It's so important for the arts that we support each other. We are all a connected web woven where it connects orchestras, it connects musicians, it connects theaters.
And the food is really good in Monticello. I mean,
good.
your mom's a great cook, but also all the restaurants are. This is like a food town.
Absolutely, and it's something that you wouldn't imagine. We have a fabulous Korean place, we have fabulous Chinese places, we have fabulous Dominican, Puerto Rican restaurants. I mean, you name it. We have such a wide variety of food in this area that it's worth coming up to visit and explore. If anything, just for that. If you can't come to our concerts or get a chance to explore the area, come
to their concerts.
Do come to the
If you're going to
concerts.
come here to eat, you might as well also have music.
Absolutely, and that's been one of the hardest things with this pandemic. You know, it's once the concerts close down, the restaurants have to close down. It becomes so difficult, and it shows that
They're
together,
very connected.
and community is incredibly important for support, community support. Speaking of support, we have some wonderful shout outs from some of our listeners so far. And I have to read this because Holly Krafka,
My mother-in-law, Holly Kafka.
Holly, you said something that was incredibly beautiful and just spot on when she said about the Brahms that this movement to me is like getting to listen in on a beautiful, intimate conversation between friends. Nobody writes chamber music like Brahms. And boy, you could not be more correct. I mean, Brahms relied so heavily on the advice and the words of his friends, and often sent pages of the scores for them to read. They would send it back with some notes, and he would go through countless revisions.
Wow.
This quartet being one of them. When he refused to publish this quartet until he had a chance to hear it performed at a friend's house. When he listened to the performance, went back home, and just months and months rewriting.
And the way that Holly responded to this piece, when you work with students, you teach them how to appreciate music. Like, that's a lot of what your role is as a music educator. So how do you get them to experience music, and how do you get them to explain how they feel about music?
Absolutely. Well, I tell you one, first, as a teacher, I require them to come to 3 of my concerts a year. That's very, very important. It's because it's important for students to be able to listen to music and play music at the same time. That's how these communities work. That's how we get to appreciate, become better musicians. You know, music, I always like to say, when you study music, it's never a steady incline.
Mm-hmm.
You're always working in plateaus. You're going to be at level 1, and you're going to be there for a long time. And then you're going to jump to level 2, and you'll be there for a long time. And that continues and continues. You personally will not notice the growth. But if you listen to music actively and you're engaged listening to music, you will always grow as a person and as a musician.
Because you're not good right when you start, so you need to have that community and see what you're aspiring to in those long years when you're slogging through and you're just not making beautiful sounds yet. You have to know, why am I doing this?
Especially on a thing like this, too. Let me tell you, you don't get very enjoyable sounds on day 1 on the bass.
Right.
It takes some effort.
Oh, one more shout out. My mom, Ray Tattenbaum. Thank you for donating. Everybody be like Ray.
Thank you, Ray. We really appreciate it. Your support is so crucial. So, and speaking of education, music education obviously has been around for a very, very long time. And one of the musicians that is his impact is still felt to this day is Leopold Mozart. Not Wolfgang Amadeus.
No, this is the scary guy in Amadeus with the black hat. And he was like, oh, my scary dad.
Yes,
okay.
That's exactly the same person.
Great.
Although he may have not been as scary. As we all know, Amadeus is a highly entertaining movie.
It's not an accurate movie. This is a heartbreaker for a lot of fans. Not accurate, but very entertaining.
Oh boy, is it fun to watch. One of my favorite movies. And Leopold Mozart, he wrote a number of treatises about how to play the violin, how to use your bow, how to phrase, how to play with the left hand, proper setups. I mean, we still use his treatises to this day. Violinists will still read these books and they will still study and that's been going on for hundreds of years. It's going to go on for
in conjunction with Suzuki.
Absolutely, in conjunction with Suzuki.
I studied Suzuki. It was rough on the ears.
But it's funny that you mentioned Suzuki because a lot of people when they think Suzuki, they might just think, oh, it's Jingle Twinkle Little Star, or oh, it's Long Long Ago. But it's so much more than that. There are so many components of Suzuki that you're practicing without even realizing it. And then by the time you've gone through these components, you are ready to play Vivaldi violin concertos, and you understand the purpose and the function of this articulation and harmony within the music. And Leopold Mozart did the same thing with a lot of his music, where you're going to hear the Frosch Partita very, very soon, and that translates into the Frog Partita. Some people have taken upon themselves to interpret it literally, and I've heard performances where they will play sounds of frogs during the performance. It's interesting, but I decided to take it more from the Leopold the Educator's perspective, and that is, how do we play this music? How do you utilize the entire length of your bow, but quickly get back with the frog?
The frog is the bottom part of the bow that you're holding on to.
We even have a nice example of my bass bow right here.
That's the frog.
Right here.
Yeah.
So Leopold Mozart, within this piece, so much of it lives in this area, but being able to use a tip as well and play out here, quickly get back to the frog. So you'll see that as we play this music in what I think is an incredibly beautiful venue, the Hurleyville Performing Arts Center Ballroom. That is one of the most acoustically perfect places I have played on within this
And
campus.
who doesn't want to be in a ballroom? It's so fancy and elegant.
Absolutely. And we did this yesterday. We were able to coordinate a time to get in there a week ago.
I can attest to this. I was here.
I gave Luke the music about 2 days ago, and then we recorded yesterday, and I hope you enjoy this performance. But first, you're going to hear some words by a very important supporter of ours, Tal Berry. You have already given us lovely comments, but you have some lovely words for the impact of this orchestra, Nesson Cultural Arts, and certainly what HPAC does and the impact we have on a community as a whole.
Hello, I'm Tal Beery, and I'm honored to be hosting the Sullivan County Chamber Orchestra here at the Hurleyville Performing Arts Center. In this beautiful space, I work here at HPAC, and you know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough collaborate. And it's been a really hard year for so many of us, and during hard times, the arts are more important than ever. The arts bring us joy, they help us process and reflect what we're going through together. And that's why I think it's so important that this year you support Nesson Cultural Arts. My son takes cello lessons with Andrew, and throughout this whole year, Nesson has gone to great lengths to make sure that those lessons remain consistent and regular on a schedule, and it's been so wonderful seeing him grow as a young musician. I think Nesson is just a wonderful community, a wonderful arts organization, and they deserve your support this year.
Well, I hope you enjoy that music as much as I did. I mean, certainly it's leapfrog with yourself, trying to stay at the frog of the bow, but it
It's
does.
sneaky. Leopold is a sneaky guy, sneaky
Absolutely.
Leo, because he gets you to play this beautiful piece and you don't even realize that you're working on this technical element.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what the best composers and the best teachers are really
Mm.
able to do, and they continue to do that all the way through. I hope so. I hope you all enjoyed that music. I particularly did, and I did notice that some of you might have some questions about how you can order the prints, how you can order the CDs and the books. And the best way to do it right now, we're working on rebuilding our website to bring ourselves again further and further into this technological age and digitization of music. So for right now, the best way to go about it is to certainly sign up for our mailing list, send us an email. What are you requesting? Ask for what size prints we have available. We will give you a list. You can certainly choose which ones you want. Let us know how many CDs you want. We will ship them out to you immediately.
And leave us comments right now during the live stream because we can field your questions.
Absolutely. So, we talked about Leopold the educator, and that's such a big part of what SCCO does. Education is the name of our game. Well, orchestra is the name of our game, but then education is a huge part of it as well. Because what does it mean to study and watch? That's what we ask our students all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, if they're practicing alone and they don't have access to professionals that they can see perform, or they can't see, oh, my teacher is out there doing this thing that I'm working on. What do you think is the role of the educator there? Like, how does that impact the students?
Well, it's for me, I can tell you how impactful it was for me. I mean, when I was a Juilliard as a student, I studied with Timothy Cobb, who at that time was the principal of the Met Opera. And I just remember going out to those shows when he was playing Rigoletto, because in the first act, there is the most gorgeous duet for solo bass and solo cello, and how impactful it was to hear that your teacher not only knows what he's talking about, but he can walk the walk too. He can back it up. That was incredibly important for me.
And I remember I had a wonderful teacher, Karen Fagerberg. I was not a gifted violinist, but I was enthusiastic. And she was playing at Goodspeed Opera House in Connecticut. And she let me come and sit in the pit with her. And it was some kind of, I forget the show, but it involved a card trick. And this guy on stage did a card trick. And all the cards fell into the pit. And a card fell on my nose. And another card fell on the bridge of her violin. And it was so magical, and and I did later go on to do theater. And so I didn't do violin, but the way she involved me in the art making process
Absolutely
made it such a spectacular experience.
And you're talking about something that I firmly believe in. We certainly, as music educators, the goal is to not create future musicians. I'm not trying to raise students who will eventually go on to the great conservatories of the world. Of course, if they want to go to one of the great conservatories, you will help them. And we will guide them to that area.
But we do have a lot of musicians.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I can say from personal experience that when you study to become a professional, it changes the game. It stops becoming fun. It becomes serious, it becomes work. But what we're doing by training these students is to become better listeners, better supporters of the arts, better audience members. That's what we need. We need these future musicians to join the Sullivan County, or not Sullivan County specifically, but certainly your community chamber choir, your community band. Keep the music alive.
And you never know who you're teaching who's then going to go seed another arts community somewhere else, which is an incredible thing. And earlier you had someone speak about the soul of the community, and that's also what you're fostering when you teach a child music.
Absolutely.
You're building the soul of a community.
Absolutely. At SCCO, though, we do like to take it a step further as often as we can, and we are a big fan of doing side-by-side concerts, where we will invite these students to crowd the stage with us. This was before the pandemic, of course, and we were able to perform music together. So not only can students watch the orchestra and appreciate that sound, but they can be, like you said, in your experience, in that process, they can be in the thick of it. We have a wonderful video support from one of the parents, as well as two of our students, Bethany England and her children, Kenny and Chelsea. So we love to share a video from them. And then you will quickly see one of our side-by-side concerts, one I'm particularly fond of.
This is my favorite part of
Oh,
all the videos. My
me
favorite
too.
video.
And it was my conducting debut as well.
Oh, cool.
I've never thought I was going to be a conductor. And we performed the Can-Can from Offenbach's opera, Orpheus in the Underworld. Of course, you all know the Can-Can so well. It's been used in many great films, such as...
And commercials.
And you'll notice me, it's kind of fun. But I, as an unexperienced conductor, I did not have the best ability at cueing into students. But as I practiced, Actually,
Well, you're always learning, right?
Always
You're
learning.
modeling that for the kids.
So if you can watch out for that video, watch out for me to cue in our students with a 4, 3, 2, 1. It's good fun. It's good entertainment.
Hello, my name is Bethany England. I have 2 kids who do activities with Nesson Cultural Arts, my son Kenny Walls and Chelsea Walls. Chelsea's been a part of the program for about 7 years and Kenny for the last 5 years. I also have a 17-year-old with autism who thoroughly enjoys going to all of their performances and watching them play. Our house just lights up with music all the time. It's wonderful. I am forever grateful with the opportunities that my kids have been able to have with Nesson Cultural Arts and all of the talented musicians that work with them and teach them. I also am very happy about the Arts Haven that they go to. Things are just different than they were when I was growing up. When I was growing up and at their age, I was able to go outside and have a multitude of different neighborhood friends that I could play with, and things are just different now. So the Arts Haven gives them the opportunity to be able to hang out with their peers, but also learn with them and just practice right alongside other children and with talented musicians.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. I'm involved in many different programs with Nesson, such as violin lessons, piano lessons, art classes, and chorus. I work for Nesson a couple days a week. I go to the Arts Haven, and I teach a few children. It's called Practice Buddy. So I'm not really their teacher, but I just give them ways to practice to help them. Nesson has really provided me with a lot of new opportunities, and without Nesson, I don't think I'd be involved in so many different things.
My name is Kenny, and with Nesson I play guitar and bass in lessons, and I'm in an ensemble in which I play bass. And what I like about Nesson is that it teaches you many different fun skills in an engaging and fun way.
so impressive. I love that video. It's so great. And your conducting is terrific.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy you enjoyed it.
I really did. A lot of energy.
And these are just, this evening showed you just a small portion of what SCCO offers. I mean, and this takes a lot of support from you, the community, from our partners to make this possible. Certainly, like I said, get on our website, go to nessonculturalarts.org and click on the donate button. You can donate through Venmo, you can donate through PayPal, you can also send snail mail checks. We really appreciate that. You can support us by purchasing our merchandise. We have the Exploring Our Home page, the 4 Seasons of Sullivan County, and on May 1st, we will be launching our very own Patreon page, and we will be using this to not only deliver new music to you, new content, but also showcasing the size of the orchestra that is away from their instrument. One thing I'm particularly looking forward to, and I've had the luxury of experiencing many, many times, is the concoctions of Luke Krafka, or like to call them Krafka cocktails. He will be showing a series of these on our Patreon page, both alcoholic, both virgin, and the man is here himself.
He's here?
The man is here himself.
Oh my God.
Created some fabulous drinks for us that, he can maybe just speak a few
Can I
words
walk
about
on
that.
stage?
You can walk on
You
stage.
might be too tall. You might have to
I'm too tall for everything.
Okay. Put him right there, honey. Put him right there.
You are my friends?
Thank you.
Yeah.
What are we drinking, Luke?
Here you are. This is SCCO's first official cocktail for the spring season. This is a Vivaldier. So, if you want to make this at home, you're going to have to use 3 ounces of like a Maker's Mark, whiskey, bourbon, however you like to do that. 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, a little bit of bitters, and for this one, we have a little bit of rosemary put in there, but
Fresh from the garden.
That's correct.
Wow.
But you can also throw on an orange peel on the side if you'd like. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks
Luke.
for stopping by, Luke.
My pleasure.
Good to have you here.
Get out of here now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see how it is.
Oh, that is delicious.
Wow.
That is a delicious
The
cocktail.
rosemary adds a lot.
Absolutely.
Wow. So this is a signature cocktail that the folks at home can find on Patreon. Is that
They will
true?
be able to find that on Patreon. Again, that is launching May 1st, and it's going to include a lot more than just cocktails. Akigo, my wife, she is an avid fan of finding beautiful children's books that are centered around the themes of music that she would be able to read to you, provided with some music as well. I have my own talents. I'm an avid cook at home, but more importantly than that, I am a huge fan of music puns, believe it or not.
No, I
music
do
jokes.
believe that, yes.
My favorite joke is about, I do have my favorite bass joke if we have time to hear it.
I mean, I have time. I'm not going anywhere.
I hope you're not going anywhere either.
Or are you going to tell the bass joke?
I am going to tell
I
the bass
have
joke.
already heard it, so if I don't laugh, it's not because I don't find it hilarious. It's just that I did already hear it. But take it away.
Oh, I will take it away. So this is a story about a student who went out to his very, very first bass lesson ever. Comes home and the mother says, "Son, how was your bass lesson?" He says, "Mom, it was so great. I learned a G." "That's great, son. I'm really proud of you." Goes back the next week to his second lesson. Mom comes home. Mom says, "Son, how was your lesson?" "Mom, it was wonderful. I learned to play D." "That's great, son. I'm so happy for you." Goes back to his third lesson. Doesn't come home until midnight. Mom's getting very worried. Son comes home and mom says, "Son, where the heck were you?" Says, "Mom, you wouldn't believe it. I had a gig."
It's extra funny when you actually have the bass here, because last time I had to kind of imagine,
Yeah.
but now you've got like the actual prompt.
Absolutely.
You really could play a gig with just those 2 notes, right?
Absolutely.
Is that like offensive to say? I mean, that's kind of true, right? Okay, I don't want to hurt any string players' feelings, but
Me neither.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
But one of the most exciting things that we are thrilled to launch on the Patreon page is our custom happy birthday cards for you. We will have SCCO musicians record variations of happy birthday in the styles of various composers, including Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Dvorak, in the styles of rag. And we have 3 examples for you we like to share of what you could receive for a custom happy birthday
This is very
card.
creative. I've never seen anything like this. It's a good idea.
It's fun. Please enjoy. those are just some examples of what's going to be available on our Patreon page. And Emma, you have a lot of experience with Patreon. Can you explain to our viewers how basically in a nutshell it works?
In a nutshell. So Patreon is basically, it's a way to support, for fans to support artists. And it kind of takes out the middleman. It gets rid of publishers or agents. It just allows you direct contact with who you want to support. And I think it's a really beautiful way to support the arts directly without any extra expenses. You know that you are paying for the music. You are a producer of the art that you enjoy. And it's a win-win for the fans and the artists.
Absolutely. You may have noticed in all those happy birthday variations that we played for you that we were wishing happy birthday to Nessun Cultural Arts, celebrating their 10-year anniversary, which is an immense milestone in any organization. In fact, I do remember directly that we had a meeting with one of our finance people, and they said at that time, 10 years, that's incredible. I never thought you were going to make it.
Yeah, so you did. You defied the odds, and SCCO is 5 years old.
And we are celebrating our 5th season. Would have been this season. I think we're going to call next season 5.2 because we kind of need a redo on it.
But that's huge. That's wonderful when the finance guy says you can't do it and then you can.
Absolutely.
I think every artist likes that kind of story.
Absolutely. But that was only made possible with the support of viewers and community like everyone watching this evening. Without your support, without your help, we can't achieve these remarkable milestones. So please continue to support the arts here in Sullivan County. If you're watching from abroad, I hope you'll be inspired to support the arts in your own local communities as well, or wherever your favorite outlet of creativity would be, whether it's the opera, whether it's the ballet, whether it's the museum. All of these institutions provide such an integral and special service to communities, and they always need your support.
And the money that you're giving tonight is going to the upcoming season that starts in August.
In August.
You will see the impact right away of what you give tonight.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening. We are coming down to the end of the night. But before we go, we have just a little bit more music to share with you. And we are going to play the music truly by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
The one, like the main character in the movie, the main guy.
Exactly. Wolfie, as we like to call him
Wolf,
for short.
Yes.
And this is from one of his very early compositions. As a young man, when he was living in Salzburg, he wrote 3 divertimentos, which divertimento is just music meant to be enjoyed through the evening. It's nothing...
Divertimento just means fun.
It just means fun.
Fun times.
Fun times. It means a party. And these have been affectionately known as the Salzburg symphonies as well. Normally, traditionally, they are played in a string orchestra setting, but the SCCO quintet you've been hearing throughout the evening of Kiko Hosoi, Sarah Weber, Nancy Wegrzyn, Luke Krafka, and myself, we will be playing for you the first movement of Mozart's D major divertimento. Please enjoy. Well, that's the end of our evening.
That Wolfie, he's really something.
Oh, isn't he? Yeah. What I love about Wolfie's music is
We
he's
have a
often
nickname.
we do have a nickname for him, and he's often perceived or perceived as an egotistical schmuck who likes to do his own thing that made lots of money. But Wolfgang, when Mozart was playing his music, Wolfie, he loved to play with people. He was often performing with his sister. He was often performing with friends, and he played in a quartet with three of the most eminent composers in Vienna at that time, with Papa Haydn, as we like to affectionately call him, Karl von Dittersdorf, and also Johann von Hall. That's what
Fun
his sound
guys.
was. Fun guys, and that's what Mozart did. You can hear it in the mastery of his music.
Mm-hmm.
So some of you had questions about how we can possibly join our Patreon page. Again, the Patreon page will be launched on May 1st. It will not be available until then.
You have to be patient. That's why you join the mailing list.
Exactly. Join the mailing list, sign up, join our social media. You can follow us at SCCO Players. That applies to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, I guess maybe one day TikTok if we get to that point. I'm not sure yet.
Pace yourself. Now, NessonCulturalArts.org is where people can join the mailing list.
That is correct. That is the website. That's where you can donate to help make next season possible. And that is where you can sign up for our mailing list to receive all of our up-to-date information. This is a full evening. I'm so happy to have shared this with all of you. And I'm so looking forward to next season. And it's only going to be possible with your support. So thank you again for that.
Thank you for joining us.
Cheers to you all.
Cheers.
Cheers to Emma. Thank you for
Cheers
joining us this night.
Andrew.
Enjoy the evening.
Have a great night, everybody. Well done, Luke. Excellent cocktail.